quick as a flash. Faster, stronger. Controlled breathing. Let's move! Start the clock! On my mark! We deserve a reward for our hard work. I'd have put this on top of a mountain to motivate the rock climbers. Hey, you want to try deadlifting that? Push through the pain. Am I at my limit? My muscles are too fatigued. Take it easy. Careful, don't injure yourself. Back to the doctors for me. I overtrained and underperformed. Think I need a rest day. Come on, put your back into it. That's more like it. I'm all warmed up. Anyone need a coach? Let's get started. Hi there, I'm Iansan from the Collective of Plenty, and I'm the most well-known fitness coach in my tribe. You look like you're in pretty good shape. Do you work out too? You haven't quite hit your reps for today. Come on, one more set. I've gone a little over my calorie budget so far. Need to rethink my dinner plans to get back on track. People seem to think I was born with super strength, but look at me. This tiny frame is what my genetics gave me. All my strength comes from consistent training with good technique. Put in the same work, and you can absolutely get the same results. Quick, find some shelter. You don't want to catch a cold. It just puts unnecessary stress on your system. Time to get some sun. Come on. This weather's a good chance to train outdoors. Now that I think about it, running against the wind technically counts as resistance training. This is not the place for training outdoors. Hey, good morning. Becoming an early riser is one of the first things to work on when you're looking to improve your self-discipline. If you can't even get yourself out of bed, there's no chance you'll stick to your other plans either. Anyway, I'm in the mood for a morning run. Want to join me? Good afternoon. Did you eat a proper lunch? If you ask me, lunch is the most important meal of the day. It's crucial for replenishing your energy and has a huge impact on your nutritional balance. If you ever need advice on how to eat right, just ask me. Good evening. Any interest in exercising after dark? The time right after sunset is perfect for outdoor activity. Since you avoid the worst of the sun, you don't get quite as dehydrated. And it's also a good way to tire yourself out enough for a great night's sleep. Want to give it a try? You should get yourself to bed. Losing sleep means losing gains. There's no way around it. Physical fitness has always been a big part of my tribe's culture. Young people even show off their muscles to each other as a friendly gesture. So obviously, if you want to call yourself a fitness coach around here, you've got to have the goods, or no one will take you seriously. In my case, though, I never actually set out to become a fitness coach. For years, I was just minding my own business, following my training plan, and then somewhere along the way, people started taking notice. Suddenly, people were watching in amazement while I was working out. Then they started asking me for tips, and it just grew from there. Don't take me for a little kid. I'm just short, like all my ancestors before me. I guess it must be genetic. But thankfully, it doesn't affect my strength at all. I heard that you've traveled all over the world and explored domains that few people have ever seen. It sounds amazing. Would you have time to tell me more about some of those experiences? Sometimes, what my students really need is the right inspiration, and I think your tales of braving the unknown and conquering adversity would be perfect for that. When I first received my vision, I made a detailed plan to test all its abilities. I believe it's important for a vision bearer to know the limits of their power, just as a fitness enthusiast should know their physical limits. Otherwise, you leave yourself vulnerable to injury. Designing new fitness equipment is a bit of a hobby of mine. If you ever notice any strange-looking contraptions at the fitness club, there's a good chance it's my handiwork. I'm not trying to be avant-garde or anything. I just think that different things work for different people. So I figured I'd create some alternative options. Not everyone wants to pump iron every day, so this way, even people who get intimidated by traditional weightlifting gear can still find a way to enjoy their training. Most people in the Collective of Plenty have huge frames with big, well-developed muscles, making shorties like myself the odd ones out. When I was young, people always saw me as the one who needed protecting. And later on, when I wanted to join the fitness club, the elders tried to stop me. I joined anyway, of course. And even though I managed to injure myself a bunch of times at the beginning, I was determined to stick at it. Maybe it's because I wanted to live up to my ancient name. Or maybe it's because I just didn't want to be the object of other people's pity anymore. People in my tribe like to test their strength against the Tatankasaurs. In fairness, they're usually pretty docile creatures, and most of the time you can flip them over without making them angry. But it's still a risky business, because a truly enraged Tatankasaur will charge with a vengeance and won't stop until it's completely run out of energy. Just one rampaging Tatankasaur is enough to destroy an entire village. So you really have to know what you're doing with them. I've held classes before just to teach people how to not rile them up. I have a lot of respect for Granny Eatsley, but I can't say I agree with her lifestyle choices. I used to think she was a fellow early riser because I'd always see her up and about on my morning runs. Turns out she'd actually stayed up all night and was finally heading home to sleep. And she's been living like that for what, 200 years? How her body hasn't given out on her by now, I'll never know. The shamans in that tribe are just built different, I guess. Mualani has always impressed me. She's never taken any formal fitness training, and yet her strength and physique are better than most of the students I've had. She actually did sign up for a class once upon a time, but never ended up coming along. Maybe water sports are just more effective at inducing all-round muscle development. Who knows, but I suspect the key is her frame of mind. As far as I know, she's never gone out and trained with the specific goal of achieving a certain kind of body. Shilonen is the first friend I ever made from the Children of Echoes. I have all sorts of new ideas when I'm designing fitness equipment, and she's one of the few people who can actually bring them to life. And not just that, but the build quality is always exceptional. My only issue is that she always pushes back on my deadlines. But I guess if you want something done well, it takes the time it takes. Because of the childhood I had, I don't like relying on other people or needing their protection. But when Mawika is around, even I feel comfortable letting her take the lead. To be clear, that's not because she's the leader and I'm intimidated by her. Quite the opposite. It's because I trust her as a close friend. Following her just feels right. Almost instinctive. Like moving towards the light when you're surrounded by darkness. Katrina's a very special student, mostly because of the sheer number of classes she's attended over the years. So many times, I've watched her nervously walk into the stadium, only to leave later looking crushed and defeated. Then she comes to find me to apologize for her poor performance. Although honestly, I feel like I've failed her by not delivering on the promises I make in my advertising. Anyway, since then, I've waived all her fees and told her she can train with me whenever she wants. I see huge potential in her, but I know she has her own issues. I've done all I can do as a coach, so whatever other challenges she faces, she'll have to conquer them on her own. Kanich always does a great job whenever I need someone to handpick the best fruit from Varessa's orchard. Working with him would be a joy, if it weren't for that little monster he hangs around with. He says the nastiest things. Someone really needs to teach him some manners. I'd very happily do that myself, of course. I'm sure one of my training programs would whip a How into shape. And in fact, I've offered that to Kanich before. But he turned me down. I guess he has his own way of keeping a How in line. Ah, Varessa. She's my star student. My pride and joy. I hope she hasn't made a bad impression on you. Oh, no, not like that. When push comes to shove, I'm sure she pulls her weight in battle. And I know she has things under control at the end of the day. It's just, She can be a little too relaxed, you know? I feel like if I'm not there constantly pushing her to stay focused, she'll lose all sense of time and treat every day like she's on vacation. Leave the house to run an errand, but then saunter along without a care in the world, letting herself get distracted by every morsel of food she passes along the way. Once in a while, that's fine, but you can't live like that when you're out adventuring and the stakes are so high. Anyway, I've told her all this before, so hopefully I've gotten through to her by now. But the other thing that worries me is the amount of food she needs. I mean, you tell me. Is it really practical to go hiking through the hills with a sack of food on your back the size of a baby Tatankasaur? My biggest concern for Varessa right now is that her energy management seems out of control. Her metabolism seems like it's stuck on a high burn mode, meaning she wastes an awful lot of energy, and I suspect that's the cause of her alarming appetite. I do hope she takes some time to look into what makes her this way. I'd love to see her gain the ability to manage her energy expenditure a little better, so she doesn't need to eat like a horse every single meal. I mean, it's nice to see her thoroughly enjoy her food, but at the same time, I want to urge her to be more mindful of what she's putting in her body. It's never a good idea to just gorge yourself. You have to pay attention to nutrition and quantity, and especially limit your fat and sugar intake. Much better to get her diet under control now than to have to deal with the consequences when she develops health issues later in life. Have you ever heard of the Pilgrimage Victors Academy? It's a training program I set up after my string of victories at the pilgrimage. A lot of people assumed that I was blessed with superhuman strength. I guess it's not every day you see a short girl like me best everyone else in the stadium. But I wanted to show them that no, there's no mysterious force at work behind my strength. Just years of consistent hard work. Join my training program and you'll see for yourself. It was a strange experience at the start, though. First, I had people reporting me as a scammer despite the fact that the classes were free. Then I took Mawika's advice and introduced a fee. And suddenly, the class was oversubscribed. Weird. Standard barbells are too large for me. They block my vision when I'm lifting them, and I almost injured a student once because I couldn't see who was around me. So I got Shilonen to make me a custom barbell from a special material that has a good weight but takes up far less space. It makes things so much easier. The only downside is that looks can be deceiving. People are always mistaking it for a toy. Once, I forgot to bring it home from the fitness club, and some new students spotted it on the ground. One of them thought he'd have some fun with it, but when he went to pick it up, it wouldn't budge and he ended up pulling a muscle in his back. The other students didn't believe him, and before long, the rest of them had pulled muscles in their backs too. I make sure to carry it with me everywhere now. My first foray into the science of nutrition came when I was recovering from an injury. Back then, people didn't have a very sophisticated idea of what a good training diet looks like. The general consensus was just eat more meat. And for most of the fitness club, that worked well enough. They're the kind of people who can devour entire platters of grilled meat in one sitting. But at my size, I could never fit that much food in me. So I was already on the market for a more efficient way of meeting my nutritional needs. Since I was stuck at home recovering for a while, I borrowed some reading material to research various ingredients and started experimenting in the kitchen, trying to cook some meals to support my training goals. After several failed attempts, I finally found a recipe that worked for me, and it was game-changing. Not only did it speed up my recovery, it also helped me to break my bench press record. My only regret is that, despite sharing it around, it's still relatively unknown outside of the fitness club. Researching training methods, designing training equipment, developing high nutrition training meals. In a nutshell, training. I hate being short. Not because I dream of being tall and athletic looking, though. It's just inconvenient. Like, whenever I'm teaching a group of students, I have to stand on a stool. Otherwise, when I demonstrate the proper technique, the students at the back won't see. My favorite food really have a favorite. I'm more concerned about the calories and the nutritional profile of what I eat. Taste is a secondary concern. Ugh, deep-fried food and ultra-processed food. I know that pretty much rules out most of what the rest of the world considers delicious. I know it all tastes good, and I have no problem with that. But if you look at the calorie content and the nutrient density, all that stuff is just awful. Great choice. Good amount of calories, nutritionally balanced, exactly the kind of thing I eat when I'm training. I actually have a slightly improved version of this recipe, though. Let me know if you ever want to try it. Thanks. This is a very popular dish, although the calories are a little high, so it's not really something I go for. Sorry, I'm pretty strict with what I eat. Diet's one of the most important parts of any fitness regimen. Oh goodness. Everyone should stay away from calorie bombs like these. Athlete or not, this kind of thing is disastrous for your health. Happy birthday! Would you like to try my custom-made fitness cake? There's no cream or sugar, so it's low-calorie. And I added in some veggies and grains to balance out the nutritional profile. Most birthday cakes out there are dangerous things to have around. All they do is make sure your body fat percentage goes up every year, along with your age. The key to effective fitness training is sound methodology, namely gradual progression and science-backed nutrition. Any fitness enthusiast who puts blind faith and perseverance alone will end up getting injured. I learned that the hard way. Pushing yourself to take on more than you can comfortably bear will just lead to 2 fractured arms and weeks of recovery in isolation. The right outlet for your perseverance is to stick doggedly to the right training methods. A younger me would get all excited whenever I added another push-up to my personal record. But that rarely happens these days. I've come to realize that as long as I stay consistent with my training, progress is the inevitable outcome whether I see it or not.